Math. Whether you love it or hate it, it's everywhere, even in video games. Yes, video games. The very thing many students play to get away from math. Of course, many games don't have you actually doing math equations, but many games, whether intentionally or not, make you do math. The one I'll be talking about today is Pokemon. Pokemon is a franchise where you catch and battle creatures called Pokemon. Anytime you're battling an opponent's Pokemon, the goal is to make them faint by making their HP, how much damage a Pokemon can take before they faint, go to 0. The math comes from base stats. Each Pokemon has base stats. These base stats consist of HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. These stats tell us how good a Pokemon is in battle. The higher a stat is, the better. For example, these are the stats of a Pichu, the first stage, Pikachu, the second stage, and Raichu, the third and final stage. As you can see, when a Pokemon evolves, it changes forms, and its stats get higher. Pokemon also have abilities, which are special traits given to help Pokemon in battle. Keep that in mind, because I will be talking about it later. Pokemon has a mathematical formula that can tell us how much damage a Pokemon's move can do to an opponent. This is the formula. It looks pretty complicated, but we can eliminate Z-move and Terra Shield, because Z-moves are a subcategory of strong moves in Pokemon that don't exist in the current games. Terra Shield is limited to Terra Raid battles, which are only wild Pokemon and are not used in trainer battles. Additionally, Glaive Rush is hyper-specific, so we're not going to go into it since it wouldn't be used normally. Let me be clear, when I say eliminating them, I just mean replacing them with a 1 in the equation. Now, I'll start by explaining what each word means and what it could be potentially replaced by. Level stands for the level of the attacking Pokemon, and Pokemon levels can be between 1 and 100. Power is the base power of the selected move used, and it can be between 0 and 250. A is the attack used, so if a physical attack is used, then the attack stat is used. If a special attack move is used, then the special attack stat is used. D is the defense stat of the Pokemon that is attacked. Defense for a physical move, and special defense for a special move. Targets refer to how many Pokemon are hit by the move. It's usually 1 in standard 1v1 battles, but if the move hits multiple targets, the damage is reduced to 0.75. PV, or Parental Bond, is a special ability that lets a Pokemon attack twice. First at full power, which would be 1, and then again at 25% power, which is 0.25. If the Pokemon doesn't have Parental Bond, the move just hits once at normal power, which is 1. Weather is the weather affecting the power of the moves. It's 1.5 if a water-type move is used in the rain, and if a fire-type move is used during harsh sunlight. It's 0.5 if a water-type move is used during harsh sunlight, or if a fire-type move is used during rain. It's 1 if there's no weather active, or if a Pokemon has the ability Cloud 9 or Airlock, which are abilities that negate weather conditions. Critical stands for critical hit, which is when a move does 1.5 times its original damage. The chances of a critical hit happening are random. Leave it at 1 unless a move ends up being a critical hit, or if a move is always a critical hit, like Surging Strikes, then use 1.5. Random is a roll of how much damage your move will do. It's what gives us a range in how much damage a move can do. It can be between 0.5 to 1. Stab stands for same type attack bonus. If a Pokemon uses a move that's the same type as them, it will be 1.5. 2 if their ability is adaptability, and 1 if it is not a move that's the same type as the attacking Pokemon. For example, Pikachu is an electric-type Pokemon, and if he uses an electric-type move, it would be 1.5 times stronger. Type stands for type effectiveness. Every Pokemon type has types it's weak to and strong against. For example, water types are super effective against fire types, and fire types are not very effective against water types. The The options for this are 0.25 and 1.5 for not very effective, and 2 and 4 for super effective. 0.25 and 4 are used if the move is 4 times not very effective or super effective, respectively. For example, Ice is super effective against ground and dragon type Pokemon, so an Ice type move used against a dragon and ground type Pokemon would be 4 times super effective. Next is Burn. If a Pokemon is burned by a move or by an ability, then its physical attacks would do half of their base power. So it would be 0.5 if the Pokemon is burned, and 1 if it isn't. Finally, Other is 1 in most cases, except for certain moves, abilities, and items. I know it's hard to understand, so let's use an example to plug in. Let's say we have a level 50 Charizard that doesn't suffer a burn, holds no item, has a special attack stat of 130, uses Flamethrower, a fire-type special move with a base power of 90, against a Venusaur with a special defense stat of 120, and doesn't land a critical hit. The move receives Stab, since Charizard is a fire type. Additionally, since Venusaur is a grass type, it's weak to fire type moves, so type would be 2 in this equation. All other modifiers are 1, so plugging everything in shows us that this move would do between 112 and 132 damage. Now let's say a level 50 Charizard doesn't suffer a burn, holds a life orb, which increases damage done by 30%, so 1.3 would be used, with a special attack stat of 130, uses Flamethrower against a Venusaur with a special defense stat of 120, and wants a critical hit, so 1.5 would be used. The move receives Stab, and Venusaur is weak to fire moves, so type equals 2 in this equation. After plugging everything in, we get that this move would do between 218 to 257 damage. And that's how the Pokemon damage formula works. I hope my explanation in breaking everything down made it simpler to understand, and I hope you now see how games can make you indirectly make you do math while playing. Thanks for watching and listening.